8 goals, 4 games, back-to-back clean sheets. The champions of the world march on, while the champions of South America are shell-shocked. This is Now Streaming Qatar. So, lots to discuss in this program. CONMEBOL champions Argentina suffered their first defeat in an opening game of a World Cup since 1990. France, well, a come-from-behind 4-1 victory for them. We have all of this and more with our expert panel of analysts this afternoon. We still have our good friend Dexter with us to my immediate right. And in addition to Dexter, we also have Jamal Tucker making his debut this afternoon. Gentlemen, good afternoon. How are you both doing?
Good afternoon, Simon. Doing good, you know. They are going good so far, you know.
Not doing so bad. It's been a good day of football, so I enjoyed it.
Wonderful, wonderful. Jamal, let me start with you on this one. Firstly, tell me about your first World Cup memory. You know, we tend to ask our panelists this one. Your first World Cup in memory, and also the team that you support as well.
I'd say both are connected because I have like hazy memories of 2002. Just the fact that, you know, Brazil was running the world at the time. The atmosphere of Seoul and Japan in those times. But I'd say 2006 is where my strongest memories would be as a first World Cup memory. Like I said, it's tied to my support of the Dutch national team. I remember in grade 4 at the time, my teacher at the time, she had an injury. And so her son, who was in college, I think, he came to stay with her and support her. But man insisted that if I'm going to be here, I have to be watching the World Cup. So I'm carrying like a big back TV, go watch the World Cup. And the colors weren't so great. So there was this team that was playing in this bright orange. And I said, you know, who are these guys? Like, why are them glowing like this, you know? Yeah. And like, I recognized a lot of the players because a lot of the Dutch players at the time, they were playing in like the Bundesliga and La Liga. And that was mostly what I was watching at the time.
Right.
So I recognized them and I thought, okay, you know, these are people that I recognize and I can just follow them with interest. Then the 2010 World Cup came around and of course they had a very good run in that tournament and they almost won. Frankly, I think they should have won, but that's a separate story. Puyol should have gotten red carded, but yeah, we won't go there now. And so since 2010, it's like 2006, I was intrigued by them. By 2010, I was convinced, and I've just been on the Dutch ship ever since.
I mean, you saw them take the field on Monday against Senegal. Your thoughts so far of what you've seen from them in the competition?
The one thing I'd say about them is that it seems that they've lost a bit of momentum because that run that they had in the Nations League a while back, I thought that's the kind of form that they would have brought to the World Cup. They haven't actually. They definitely slowed down a bit, especially in the qualifiers coming in as well. But I was still confident, even when the game didn't look so clear-cut. I was still confident that they could get it done. 2 things that made me confident were the fact that Memphis wasn't on the field, and I know the Dutch team by now. You know, they tend to look like this. They tend to be unconvincing for a while, but then they get the result. And then once they get the result, they start rolling and, you know, it becomes a little easier for them. So when I saw that, I think, yeah, that's typical Dutch. And if it's typical Dutch, under Louis van Gaal's tutelage, I'm seeing, you know, at least a quarterfinal run. So I'm feeling good for them.
All right, sounds good. Dexter, you're still a Portugal fan, right?
Yeah, man, not even.
Okay, because, you know, especially with the results with Argentina today, you have to wonder with people putting on another jersey.
No. I'm going to stick to the team until if them, I have a frame of mind or a thought. If my team drop out, me drop out too. Go and watch the football, but them drop, me drop. And I say it for go. When the wagon, it's not a wagon still. The ship stop.
You have to have a second team, you mean? You have to have a second team.
No. That's a wagonist behavior, you know? Well, I have 2 teams.
See that?
No. That's not the reason, though. That's not the reason. That is not. I'm saying from man, that is not the reason. The reason is that I was always following Italy because I'm Maldini, Bebeto, and Portugal. I love Luis Figo, and I'm a Ronaldo fan.
Same here. Yeah.
So for a while, I've been following these 2 teams. It's kind of hard to kind of separate myself from them. So yeah, but no man, if the team go down, you go down too. So all of the Argentinian fans. But I think when the team will drop out early, but if it drop, please to drop as well. Yeah.
And you guys know that Dexter will certainly do a video on that.
Yes,
Trust
man,
me,
you will
for
find out
days.
about it. Yeah, you will find me actually up on my head a prep, you know. See how that go.
The preparation going on. Just a reminder, folks, as well, thank you so much for tuning in. Bang us in the comments as well. Let us know your thoughts as well about, what you've seen today across the 4 matches. If you have any questions for any of our panelists as well, do let us know. Right here, subscribe to 876 Stream JA on YouTube. And of course on Instagram, 876 Stream. And on Twitter, Stream 876 for all the latest content in the World Cup. This is Now Streaming Qatar, your show for everything related to the greatest show on earth. We have a comment coming in from Gawain Gordon, says, yeah, Tucker, so certainly getting some love in the comments quite early on. So, gentlemen, we had 4 games today, 8 goals scored across those 4 games. A reason for persons to get up quite early. Jamal, let me start with you on this one. Argentina, Saudi Arabia, the result and also the performance from Argentina's perspective. Your thoughts?
Well, similar to what I said about the Dutch, it tends to happen to Argentina. We've seen this a couple times now, but then at the same time, again, similar to the Dutch, they tend to figure it out. So I'm not worried for them overall. They're still one of the favorites. One loss isn't the end of the road. Spain taught us that in 2010. But I would say that there are some worrying signs because on the way here, I was thinking about it and I was saying that one of the weak points in Argentina's team, in my mind, is the wing-back position. Right, and I was thinking that any team that's going to get the better of them would have to be going at them at the wings because Di Maria, today it was Gomez on the left side, but Di Maria and whoever is on the left, they wouldn't necessarily be tracking back. Argentina is a team that you'd expect to play more front foot football, so they'll be going forward. They wouldn't necessarily be running back. And in us, Messi made a last ditch tackle. You know what I mean? So it's like I'm thinking the wing is where they need to exploit. But as it turned out, all he needs to do is just buy their time because Argentina didn't take their chances. And I think that's probably what's going to be the death of them more than even the lack of defensive cover on the wing going forward. As for Saudi Arabia, man, what a result for them. Yeah, I mean, that's what actually one of my favorite parts about the World Cup. It's watching those smaller nations, let's say, have a moment. You know what I mean? Because you watch Argentina, you watch Brazil, England, and Portugal, the rest of them, you expect them to come good and do something. But like when a small nation gets a moment, and I don't necessarily mean a victory like this upset, but just a moment that they can celebrate. You know what I mean? It's nice to see, and I don't mind Argentina losing, so I enjoyed the game.
Next, should Argentina and their fans be concerned?
Well, you're concerned today, but I don't think so. Okay. I think they have enough to get out. I still think they're going to top their group. Okay. But you see, with what happened this morning, anything is possible, So, but I think based on what Messi said, they have to get back to who they are, and I think that's going to help them going forward because they're now like gonna get really serious about like, okay, we have to get back our focus, get back to who we are, and get forward. But something that caught me today, and I'm always adding a flip in my brain about stuff. It was interesting to when I went home, I was checking some stuff and I saw that Saudi Arabia have a holiday tomorrow.
Yeah, yes.
And that big. I mean, I think about myself, what I think if Jamaica they go to the World Cup, and boy, we they beat Argentina. So we not get nothing. Not getting a thing. We not get nothing at all. Promise to not giving nothing. We go back at work as usual. Right? But big up Saudi Arabia. They did a really good job. I really thought they played out of them skin today. Especially going in at the half without having conceded a million goals. They must have come out like, okay, we have a chance, really have a chance, and they played well. They really played well. Yeah.
Indeed, and just to remind the viewers as well in terms of that sort of timeline, Lionel Messi converted a penalty in the 10th minute, Saleh Al-Sheri in the 48th minute, and arguably the goal of the tournament so far, Salem Al-Dassari, a man that scored against Jamaica back in 2020. Remember that when Jamaica defeated Saudi Arabia 2-1? Yep, under Coach Whitmore. Yep, you guys remember that. What a day, what a moment for Saudi Arabia becoming the first Asian team to defeat a South American team at the World Cup. So absolutely brilliant from that sort of thing. And in addition to that, Argentina, the last time that they lost a game after leading at halftime. We have to go back to the 1930 final where they played Uruguay. So it's been quite some time.
Yeah.
Usually when they have a lead, they normally go on to win it. But today, completely different. And Dexter, you made a point earlier as well. Countries like Saudi Arabia, like Tunisia, the North Africans, they're very close and would know the conditions of Qatar quite well.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. It's not necessarily they had an advantage per se, but when you're close to home, you feel it's a bit more comfortable. You know, you're accustomed to the environs. You know,
that's still an advantage.
it helps.
Yeah.
Yeah, it helps. It helps. You have to travel too far as well.
Right.
And then there's pride, you know.
Mm-hmm.
There's pride, like, you know, with the close to we had.
Yeah.
We can't make Argentina come all the way here. But like I said, big point for me was halftime going and know that, boy, it could have been probably like 4 goals down. And you only have 1 goal against you, like, you're going and you're like, okay, you feel like you're confident about yourself and the strategies.
You're going with a bit of belief because, like, even there is something floating around on the internet with a player, not sure who it was, most likely a defender. I beat down Messi back. I tell him, say, yo, you now win the game. Like at first when we were watching, we were saying, oh, no, with a big shirt. You know what I mean? Like the game even done yet. Wait, no, brother. But like he said it after. I was looking at it a little longer and I was thinking, actually, it looks like he's probably saying like, you're not going to get past me. I thought it was just some mind games during the game. But yeah, the man was saying, yo, we're not going to win. And that's just showing you the belief. I mean, they played a very high line against a team like Argentina that can exploit that. And did 3 times illegally, but they did. You know, they got behind them and they put the ball in the back of the net on 3 occasions. They're offside more than that. But the fact that they stuck to their guns, they said, look, we're playing this high line, we're going to press them. And you know, and they were clinical enough to take it. Well, I'd say clinical in the first one. The second goal was just pure brilliance.
Class.
That was just, I mean, you look, the man beat the control, first of all. I remember the ball falling out of the sky.
Yeah.
You know, and then shrug off one challenge, beat the next one, cut inside, and you're thinking, all right, good.
Class goal, man.
How you do that?
Class goal, man.
You know, World Cup, Argentina, you don't even afraid.
Yeah, class
you know, that was like I said, goal of the tournament already, probably, but it's going to take some way to beat that.
And to just completely shatter that record that they've had pre-COVID to know.
Yeah. I think that's one of the reasons why people thought that, well, Argentina for sure are going to win this match because they haven't been beaten 36 games so far. Like this should be a walk in the park for them.
That should have even been like probably the clue because while I have them as a favorite, I didn't have them as the favorite because when you think about it, they've gone 36 games unbeaten. Only one other team has ever gone more, and that was more recently. And I'm saying, well, for them to then win anything out of a majority of 7 games, that would literally be unprecedented.
Yeah, true.
No one would have ever done that before.
Yeah.
You know, it's not to say it's impossible, but it just shows you that there's a reason why that was a record to begin with. You know what I mean? So so it's not surprising that happened. But like I said, that doesn't mean it's the end of the road.
Yeah.
They can still come back from. I mean, it's a spirited Saudi Arabia team that's basically playing at home because they're right beside Qatar. You know, but I think they probably look at that, dust themselves down and come again, and you know, greatness would speak for itself, I suppose.
Absolutely. Just to take some of the comments that we have coming in as well, quite a bit coming in. Nitra says, Argentina lacks a creative midfield. And Akeem says, a midfield overall, that Argentina lacks a midfield overall. Alex Taylor goes on to say, Di Maria was poor and they should have started Alvarez over Gomez. Saudi Arabia managed this game well and it was a tactical masterclass by Hervé Renard. Interesting view there. Leighton Facey says, Saudi Arabia most definitely created history today. Yep, they certainly did. The result is there to speak for it. Nigel says, really? Yard defeated Saudi team? Yes, of course, back in 2020.
Yeah.
2-1.
2 goals to 1.
Before that. But
on their home soil as well. Daniel Johnson and, of course, Javan East as well get on the score sheet. Alexander Taylor, Poland were poor again. Mexico was also poor. How can you be the leading goal scorer for your country and have no goals in the World Cup? How does Poland does the same thing every World Cup amazes me. We'll get to that quite shortly, and we'll certainly have our panelists, delve into that matter in particular. And Alex goes on to say the 0-0 draw with Mexico and Poland was the worst possible result for both teams. Well, like how we are on that game, gentlemen, that was the other game in terms of in this group in particular. Mexico against Poland. For you, Dexter, on a Poland standpoint, a point gained or 2 points dropped?
I think 2 points dropped. To be honest, though, actually, I had said it before that I think Lewandowski has too much pressure on him. He's a lot of load to carry, he's a lot of load to carry. And as you know, he hasn't scored a World Cup before. So that's the next part. It's almost like, okay, is he going to do it today? When I saw the penalty, I literally sent a message to a few of my friends and I was like, all right, one of them are going to score today. my shade is off and back, what going to happen? And, never get to score. And I think for both of the teams, actually, boy, it would have been good if either of them won. Because now the challenge is, all right, you're definitely going up against Argentina squad that is motivated to beat everybody. And now you're going to face a Saudi Arabia who have confidence out of this world.
Yeah.
So it's a very interesting group, Their group are very interesting. I thought the match, though, could have been better. I really thought Mexico kind of made that one drop a little bit. But having gotten a penalty, definitely Poland should have done better.
I don't think it's a point lost or gained by anybody because I always saw these teams as being equal. Mexico is not the Mexico of old. Yeah. They're not as good as they have been in times gone by, but they're definitely quality enough to be at the World Cup. They deserve to be there. But at the same time, Poland has never been that all-conquering type of team.
Yeah, for real.
They've really only been an ultra run for a long time, but just in general. They're not necessarily coming into a game to dominate teams necessarily. They fight. They're one of those scrapping teams. A lot of the teams from Eastern Europe are like that as well. They tend to be rugged teams that work together in a unit. So I figured they'd be hard to break down. And Lewandowski's troubles in front of goal in the World Cup continues. But you also think that it's moments like these that make you realize the difference between some of the people that we have in like the greatest of all time conversations. Because Messi and Ronaldo, for example, they might have been, even if they didn't score necessarily, they might have been more impactful on the game than Lewandowski was today. Even a man like Zlatan, we can easily say that Lewandowski is up there with the best forwards in the world. No two ways about that. But when you talk about people like Messi, Ronaldo, and Zlatan, and some of the others as well, you realize that's why they are where they are, because they make that difference. And I was never convinced that he would have. Not because he's a bad player, but just that's what that team is, So I had them down for a draw. I did think that they'd at least scored a goal, but I did have them down for a draw. So I'm not surprised by it. I don't think anybody lost or gained any ground, especially. Quite frankly, what would have actually decided where they ended up in the group, in my mind, would have been how they treated the game against Argentina. Because ideally, you would have thought before today that they would have beat Saudi Arabia. Yeah. And then, a draw between themselves was probably more likely than any one of them winning. And then what they do in the Argentina game is probably what would be most decisive for them. So I think it's, it's fair. The game was kind of it could have done with a goal.
Definitely.
You could have done like,
definitely.
Somebody said it's like, you wake up early to watch Argentina game and then the world said, all right, go and go sleep.
No, really.
Yeah, you just get back some rest because you could have. That game is very forgettable. Let me put it like that.
Yeah, but from a Mexican standpoint, though, Jamal, that there's been always some injury concerns with Jimenez. Ever since that concussion, he's not necessarily been the exact. Mexico overlooked Javier Hernandez and Carlos Vela. Did they perhaps miss a trick there, that number 9 that could have had an impact?
Absolutely, because take what I said about Lewandowski, for example. A player like Hernandez is known for needing very few touches for getting a goal. That's how he's built his career, right? That's just a man that waits around for opportunities and makes you pay for giving them to him. So somebody like him, and of course he's vastly experienced as well. I mean, a lot of people may know him or would know him from Manchester United days, but he also spent time at Real Madrid. So like he would have been in and around big competitions, big players. He would have known how to deal with pressure. True. Right? And he's also there in the Mexican team as one of, their top goal scorers as well. So definitely somebody like that. That's valuable experience. Competition football, cup football like this, experience is very telling. That's why some of the players that are there now are as old as they are, because you need that kind of level head to take advantage of opportunities when they come. Point in case, Jimenez got an opportunity, he got a breakaway and fumbled it right at maybe the most important point. He did well to get towards the box, but then by the time he was supposed to take the shot, he lost the ball. Someone like Hernandez maybe could have made more of that. Someone like Vela, who I think is a more complete forward than Hernandez, could have definitely made something of that. So yeah, like not calling one of them. If you even say you don't need both of them, not calling one of them, yeah, they definitely messed up there, I think.
And as well, Dexter Ochoa in goal, that penalty save.
Yeah, big. And we've seen his track record, We know his capabilities, exactly what he can do.
Ochoa World Cup is unstoppable.
Yeah, man. Like, trust me, he definitely studied. Definitely took his notes because it was said that Lewandowski generally will go to the left, and he definitely went there. He went to what he knew.
Yeah,
and
even like him.
Yeah.
That was
so he's always going to be big for Mexico, and that's what one of the things that they have. They have a very good goalkeeper. So even in a sense, whereby they may have some slip ups going forward and stuff, and not executing as well. Somebody with them knows a rock around the back, so it's very possible that he can be the man of the match most of the games.
Yeah, that gives you that assurance.
Yeah,
that's what I'm talking about with the experience thing, because you know,
you just know. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. So definitely, like, that not having someone at the other end of the pitch to give the same thing. Yeah, could have done with.
Because you saw them trying to make the chances, but just like the finishing and that touch, it's not there.
Because the build-up play wasn't bad, actually. They had decent build-up play. Chucky on the wing was doing, and he was actually on both wings, so he was moving around. He was doing well, I think. But it's just that finishing touch. Maybe just somebody to link up with.
Yeah.
And both of those players, Vela and Hernandez that you called, they're good at linking up with play. Vela especially, like I said, I think he's a more complete forward than Chicharito, but neither of them would have been bad options at all.
Absolutely there. And just a great occasion there, especially for Ochoa, as he joins himself in some really, really good company. Antonio Carvajal, Lothar Matthäus, and also his countryman Rafael Marquez. Today, Lionel Messi, and of course Gigi Buffon, of players that have been part of 5 World Cup squads. We have Andres Guardado. He didn't make an appearance today, but this is also his 5th World Cup. Lionel Messi, this was his 5th World Cup today, but the result, of course, took a gloss away from the achievements that he made today, scoring in 4 World Cups and everything of that nature. And come later this week, Cristiano Ronaldo. He'll be appearing in his 5th World Cup as well. So quite esteemed company that these men are in particular. Just to take some of your comments before we dissect the other 2 matches that we have for the day, and also the groups. And in addition to that, the fixtures ahead for tomorrow. Let's take a few more comments coming your way. Alex says Mexico has consistently been knocked out of the round of 16 since 1994. This is their level, and they'll never improve if their best players play in MLS. In some matches they've been quite unfortunate being drawn against Argentina so much times. A couple of late decisions not going their way, especially against the Netherlands back in 2014. But yes, it's been a hurdle that has stumbled them so much time. The only time they've been to the last date is on home soil, 1970 and 1986. There, Akeem Davis Ochoa, greatest World Cup keeper. Interesting conversation. Yeah, he's up there. The best.
Probably,
up there.
I mean, I'll qualify it. The greatest World Cup keeper that's never won it.
Yeah, for real,
Yeah,
for real. Because there are some good keepers that have.
They've been. I mean, Buffon, for example, 2006, Casillas, 2010.
Right.
They've been, and Neuer himself. So there've been some great goalkeepers. But he's probably up there. Yeah.
Yeah. In that same company, Carl Francis. What was a poor penalty from Lewandowski? I think he chose his placement, but a good reading from Ochoa there. You would have to say, as Dexter immediately said that he did his homework there and definitely did the video analysis. Also, I think Denmark underestimate Tunisia in their game. They played well. They finished 2nd in their African qualifiers and only conceded 2 goals in 6 games. They're 4th in the group. Jamal, from a Danish standpoint, as we know, they had that 0-0 draw against the Tunisians. A big problem ever since that, going to the semifinals of the Euros again is the form of a Damsgaard. Christian Eriksen can do so much in creating, but in that man that can just put the ball in the back of the net at the end of the day, another question mark as well.
I think it also speaks to why a player like Dolberg never actually broke out to that Ajax team from a couple years ago, because as good a player as he is, as a number 9, as a forward, as a striker, he's not as clinical, nowhere near as clinical as he needs to be. Because he had some chances, half chances, mind you, but a better striker would have been able to convert some of them or at least get some shots off, which could have resulted in a rebound goal or something. Before I continue, I have to say, you know, that man there, like, what a fantastic story.
Yeah.
Like, I've always appreciated his talent and his ability, even when he was playing for rival clubs. But now that he's playing for my club as well, I can just appreciate it up close. He's such an amazing player. And in this game, you saw where he was pulling strings. And like you said, he can do so much and no more because he can't make the pass and score the goal at the same time, you know. But I think that's probably Denmark's biggest problem. It's you mentioned Damsgaard, but I think it's the fact that because they keep going with Dolberg, right?
Right.
And he's not a bad player to go with. The problem is that, like I said, for a striker, he's not as clinical as he needs to be. He's excellent at linking up the play. From the Ajax Academy, they know how to play football over there, right? But in terms of actually putting the ball in the back of the net, they need some ingenuity there. I think probably they could benefit from just go with Damsgaard. Then they could benefit from somebody out wide who is a goal getter, you know.
Your thoughts about Martin Braithwaite, or not necessarily the same play we saw previously?
Well, I tell you what, Braithwaite for Barcelona is not a player that you want on your team. But Braithwaite for Denmark is a different ball game, literally. And also Poulsen, you know. Those two I thought, because they played together a few times. Oftentimes they alternate, but they played together a few times. I think they make a good combination up top. And we mentioned it, we spoke about this before, Simon, that having a point man in a competition like this is a very good thing to have, right? It's one thing to have that option of just playing through a team, but when you have somebody that you can just put it up there and hold up the play, you know, or even just, you know, throw their weight around and make the lives of the defenders uncomfortable, right? Throw something in the box, they head at goal, something like that. Dolberg isn't that type of player. Despite his size, he isn't that type of player. Braithwaite, Poulsen, they could do that job, but Poulsen could do more than just that. And Braithwaite, for his part, like I said, playing for Denmark, he manages to put the ball in the back of the net, and that's probably the only thing they're missing. Because defensively, they're pretty solid. As a team, they're very organized. So defensively, they're solid. Kasper Schmeichel still doing his thing. Yeah. They have good creative hub in Eriksson and other players. They need somebody to put the ball in the back of the net. And in a group like this, if they can't do that, it's going to be... I mean, not to take anything away from Tunisia, but you couldn't put one.
That was rough.
If you can't do that against them, you're going to struggle.
You're going to struggle for
You're going to
sure.
struggle.
It was a very tight match though, and I big up Tunisia because I think they played well. You know, they played really well. They never underestimated their opponents or anything. I think Denmark slightly did with them.
Yeah.
As you said, probably they needed more up front. But this is a World Cup, you know. Every team are gonna try come out and win.
Yeah.
Like you're not like you consider every match as win or go home. So you know you're gonna try to make the best of it. So them getting a point out of it to me was big because I had Denmark winning the game as well.
And then them, like some of the other countries, Saudi Arabia, Iran, that's their side of the world. So they have a lot of support as well. So we might have overlooked that before, but we actually have to realize now that's a big factor for these teams.
It is.
Yes, indeed. And quite shortly, you know, Jeff will be able to put on the screen a Group D and the graphics that lie around it, the group standings, and there we go right there. Thank you very much, Jeff. France at the top with 3 points, Tunisia and Denmark with that one with 1 point each, and Australia at the foot of the table. Jamal, still a lot of work to be done by the Australians, but at this stage, still 2 games to go. Top 2 not secured just yet for either team for you, for any team.
Well, yeah, I'd say France have the best chance, and that's based on pedigree, and they look good today. So it's still fair to say that they have the best chance. But definitely, if Tunisia, they played well, but you still think that the quality of the different teams might still overpower them. But if Denmark, like I said, can't put the ball in the back of the net, because you can pass till you're blue in the face. If you don't score more goals than your opponent, you can't win a game of football.
Yep.
And Australia were able to score today against the defending champions, and they hit the post, and they probably should have done better with a couple more chances. So if you take that and say, you know, they'll grow into the competition, or they have more belief right now, or just, you know, they're more potent up front, then you realize that actually they may have a chance. They played France before in the World Cup. That's probably why they had the last World Cup. That's probably why they had so much belief. They also played Denmark, so they probably have them figured out as well. You know, that's a team from Oceania, so it's not like they play them regularly or anything, as France and maybe Denmark might have encountered one another in Europe. But like I said, they played them before. They might have something in store for Denmark. They could have a chance, Australia.
Yeah, quite a compelling group, this one, Group D, as it's almost similar to what we saw 4 years ago. You had a group with France, Denmark, Australia, and Peru. This time, just take out Peru, bring in Tunisia, and basically the same group there. It's an interesting point to note as it relates to Denmark. They only missed out on the last 16 of the World Cup once, and that was back in 2010. So they have a good history of advancing, at least from their group. The furthest they've been was quarterfinals back in 1998. And of course, as Jamal made mention earlier, a bit of pedigree on the European continent, winning the Euros back in 1992. Peter Schmeichel being so key towards that sort of dominance. Tunisia and their record, they've never passed the group stages of a World Cup before, but they do have some pedigree to their name as well, as they're runners-up of the 2021 FIFA Arab Cup quite recently. Dexter, before we move on to the France game and the Australia game, you know, Jamal spoke earlier about Ericsson and the impact he's had, you know, for his country, but he was signed for free for Manchester United, and it's almost looking like a bargain for his impact.
Yeah, it seems like that's the case. Like, very much are going to benefit from him being there. He's a very good footballer, and you can see that, right? He holds his own and stuff. And the fact that him actually returned from what could have been like a complete career-ending situation. There you go. Could have ended his life. Like, enough motivation to just continue and to do well. You know, so I think, yeah, man, you picked him up is picking him up was really good. Yeah.
All right, so Alex Taylor in the comments says, this isn't the Denmark from the Euros. They're not highly motivated like before. It shows. Guys, continue to keep your comments coming in. Do let us know your thoughts, your opinions, any questions you have for our panel as well. You know, do let us know your thoughts in the comments below where that is concerned. Subscribe to 876 Stream JA. Hit that like button as well. Hit that like button, and also follow 876 Stream on Instagram and Stream 876 on Twitter for all the latest content from the greatest show on earth. Let's now head to the last game of the day, the game which had the most goals on the day, 5 to be specific, and that was France against Australia. So we've played and had 8 games in the World Cup so far. At this stage in the last World Cup, 21 goals. At this stage, 22. So just slightly ahead at this stage. You know, the record for the most goals in a World Cup, 171, and that was back in 98 and also 2014. These were the results of the day. Saudi Arabia, the Green Falcons, with that shock 2-1 victory over Argentina. Denmark, a 0-0 draw over Tunisia, the first 0-0 draw of this World Cup. And then Mexico drawing with Poland, also 0-0, back-to-back 0-0 draws, and this already doubles the number of 0-0 draws that we had from the last World Cup. There was only one 0-0 draw in the last World Cup, and that was France against Denmark, so we're already doubling that, unfortunately. And finally on the day, France 4, Australia 1. Jamal, let me start with you on this one. Australia came out passionate, as they always do, but I guess class showed up in the end.
Oh yeah, and you're right in saying in the end as well, because I felt like it took them a while to get going, even though they scored in the first half as well. It's just they started slowly. A team like Argentina, for example, is known for starting quicker than the average. Let's say when they get to the later rounds, that may pose a problem for them. And I say when, because I do still expect them to get to the later rounds. Coming into the World Cup, you were thinking France has a pretty good chance, because the players that they had available to them at the last World Cup, the vast majority would have been available for this World Cup until, as the months came down to it, up to even a week or two ago, where some of their bigger players were still getting injured and such. It's a shame, because you really want to see the best players play at the World Cup. And there are some very interesting players as well who we've been robbed the opportunity of seeing. In Nkunku, I can think of, is one. You guys mentioned on the show earlier that some players could have even gotten called up to replace these injured players. But we're here now, and they've played their first game and they won 4-1. So the coach was right, I guess. Bit of a circular, reasoning there, but it did prove to be the case, and I think France, like, they shouldn't really be worried. France's second string squad, as it were, is better than most people's teams.
Exactly.
So,
for sure. There's no doubt about that one there.
and they have a good
Qatar.
team spirit as well. So I mean,
Yeah.
they shouldn't really be worried about anything.
Yeah, and just to recap, the format, the Australians, they took the lead through Craig Goodwin in the 9th minute, then Adrien Rabiot in the 27th minute equalising, Olivier Giroud with a brace in minutes 32 and 71, now equaling the French all-time leading goal scorer record with, the man himself, Thierry Henry. 2 goals to his name. Now that's 51 international goals for France and 3 goals for France in World Cup history. And finally, Kylian Mbappe in the 68th minute, he scored for France to make it. He made it 3-1 on that occasion. Olivier Giroud with the last one to make it 4-1. Mbappe's goal, that was his 5th goal in World Cup history, and that puts him 3rd now as in terms of French goal scorers at the World Cup. Just Fontaine, 13 goals. Thierry Henry, 6. And Kylian Mbappe, 5, alongside Michel Platini and Zinedine Zidane.
That's
and Antoine
company.
Griezmann on 4.
That's some company.
Yeah.
Indeed, when you're bearing in mind the caliber of players. Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, he very well would become one of those high caliber players as well. I think probably the record might be in sight for him overall in probably the next World Cup or so. Cause
Very possible.
I mean, he's still young. He's won it already.
Mhm.
He's still young. He has all that talent. I would say though, since we're talking about Mbappe, how much 4 years can change a person? Because I remember 4 years ago, he was this raw, talented kid.
Yeah, for real.
He's a bit more refined now, but on the negative side, there's so much ego behind it.
Yeah.
Like I worry about that in terms of how they actually would be able to manage that within a group that tries to stay as close knit as France does, because it's very there's a lot of camaraderie there. A lot of these guys that have been coming up from the youth stages together, some of them, let me not say a lot of them, but some of them even won the Under-20 World Cup together,
That's
right?
true.
So you'd have a team that has been winning together, growing together for years, and then they went on to win the biggest one together as well. So you kind of that's probably like one of the few things I'd really be concerned about in terms of how they actually manage that, because that can be damaging to a squad. And like I said, the difference that 4 years makes, because 4 years ago he was just a kid. He's slowly becoming the GOAT, but like it's not going to help their case if they continue to feed into that ego.
Indeed. So that was Mbappe's 29th goal for France in 60 appearances. So as Jamal and even Dexter said, that record of Giroud and Thierry Henry could definitely, by the next World Cup or before that, could definitely be broken. Before we look at what lies ahead for tomorrow's fixtures in particular, Dexter, you were quite livid quite early when Mbappe was on the ball, and instead of passing, he wanted to hang on to it.
I did too much, man. That was my thing. He was doing too much. Like, there are a lot of times when he could have made the passes much quicker. He found that he put himself in a lot of bad situations because of all the tricks that he's trying to do with the ball and stuff. Sometimes he has to make the pass.
Yeah.
But the next thing is that, boy, I appreciate the France win, and I know the France people, they might beat me up for that one there, but the game is boring.
Yeah.
The game get boring after a while, man. Until them score the last 2 goals, I'm like, what want to do with the ball? Like, it just, but that's France. That is France for you.
Control.
That is France for you. But, good win for them. I expected them to win. I said 4-love. The unexpected goal from Australia, but I think they're doing what they're expected to do. And having seen what happened this morning, like, everybody is on edge right now, just ensuring that they execute as though they're supposed to, because
stay
no
sharp.
team is safe right now.
You have to stay sharp. Man.
Yeah, man, you have to stay sharp, man.
Yeah, so we've had a chance to see the Dutch, go through unscathed. England, France so far. Jamal, I'll start with you on this one. Which team so far in the World Cup has had the best impact or impression on you?
England, easily. I say England because I already had France as outside favourites. Not one of the favourites, but I had them as outside favourites. England has always been pretenders in my mind. So the fact that they came second in Euros and the fact that they went to the semi-finals last year didn't impress me, because that semi-final run was built on set-piece goals, half of which, probably more, were penalties. It was the worst golden boot I've ever seen. I mean, how can you say you're the Golden Boot winner with any amount of pride when you didn't even work for 5 out of your 6 goals? You know? But that's my biases. I think, though, this game showed that they're more than just set-piece goals and they're more than just Hurricane. And that is probably what's the most telling thing. And so to see that they were able to do what they did, and you have the players. The thing is, right, the players that they have on the team, either they play very well for England regardless of form for club, or they're just in very good form overall, you know? And you have a happy medium between that and that group of players. They're the ones that are doing it right now. The Sterlings and Rashfords. You know, Rashford looks sharper than he has looked in like maybe a year and a half.
Yeah.
And come on and score like what was it? The
49 seconds.
you know, like that's ridiculous. Man said I should have been here. You know what I mean? So I think England probably had the best start and probably the most impressive start because it shows that there's actually something there to them in terms of real substance. I still withhold my judgment on them as favorites or title contenders, but they definitely can get far in the competition again.
Yeah, and your thoughts as well, Dexter?
I'm sure loop and say Saudi Arabia. I'm not gonna say them, but they're impressed with this morning, man. Yeah. Like if you not say Saudi right now, you're not say no. Curry goat fully. Everybody curry goat. Enjoyment tomorrow. You know,
tomorrow holiday.
Yeah, the fans them do the sue all over Saudi Arabia right now, mocking Messi. But yeah, England definitely look good. England definitely look good to me as well. But as you said, Jamal, if I wait until you see like a team that is more formidable, because you expect them to go past Iran. Like, them dump goals, you know, but you expect them to go past Iran. So, but they really look good. They look good. They're looking very, very good, Nick. Coach seems to be looking like a genius. But I'd say it's just one match that against a team that you expected to win.
Right.
But yeah, I say Saudi Arabia, even though England really, I say Saudi Arabia, big for yourself.
Saudi for my money.
All right, Saudi Arabia.
Oil money.
Let's take some of the comments before we have the graphic of the fixtures for tomorrow. Richard Tucker says, loving the commentary, keep it coming, guys. Thank you very much, sir. Hakeem Davis, where do you guys think is the weak link in Le Bleu for the French team? It's a mixture between the defense and the middle. You know, no Pogba, no Kante.
Missing. Right. You're definitely missing Kante and Pogba for sure. I think
the Pogba Lloris has been questionable, but I think the Pogba or just somebody in there that can do what he did.
Yeah, certainly that element is missing. Tucker says, Australia was like an elephant in a treetop. They shocked themselves by the early result. Class tool at the end of the day. Fair point. Do you think having Giroud as the striker instead of Benzema is downgrading the quality of the French side? I think the evidence you've seen today suggests and shows the quality that he has.
I don't think it downgrades the quality. It's just that Benzema would have been an upgrade.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah. Goal score, same.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So it's fine.
Nitro says Giroud built in Arsenal, tied with a Gunners legend.
Come on.
Yeah, Thierry Henry.
Come on.
Yeah, that's true.
But
somebody has to go there. Somebody have to go there.
I mean, like, we're talking about football.
You want to big up yourself.
Yeah, it says Carl Francis, Mbappe plays better with Giroud, but Benzema will be missed. Benzema will be missed.
I think that was a partnership that was looking good though. From the Euros.
You could definitely say a tandem was
right.
Absolutely. Carl Francis, we haven't seen Mbappe and Benzema play many times though. Mbappe is used to playing with Giroud more than Benzema. Yeah, we've seen that. Of course, Benzema was out of the squad for a little while. Didn't go to the last World Cup. Carl Francis wouldn't say he plays better with Giroud, so they're having a conversation with each other. Carl Francis says, Tucker says, this was against Iran, bear that in mind, and they still conceded 2. I guess referring to England comment in that particular, but it's understandable in terms of the way that England doesn't normally break down teams, and they're still able to put 6 on the board.
I guess they just have to score more than their opponents.
Yeah, that's true. Nitro says, what makes the England team better is that the coach had a better attacking style. The use of 2 defensive midfielders in the past hurt their chances of winning games. Fair.
Yeah, I agree with that actually. I agree with that because they had enough. The trouble for them was that they weren't linking their defensive play to the attacking play. So yeah, that's a good point.
Quite a disjoint there. So 4 games on for tomorrow, just like the 4 games that we had on today. So by the end of tomorrow, we'll have completed 12 games in the World Cup, day 4. Can you believe it? Time is just going by so quickly. So we kick things off at 5 o'clock. Morocco against Croatia. 2018 runners-up and bronze medal winners 1998. We'll have our pre-game show at 7:15 a.m. to 8 o'clock. Germany against Japan. 4-time winners Germany against Japan. Spain against Costa Rica at 11. And at 2 o'clock, the Red Devils. Nope, not Manchester United, but Belgium against Canada. Their first World Cup since 1986. Dexter, which one of those 4 games you're most looking forward to?
Last game, for sure. Come on, that's going to be a nice game, yeah. I'm looking forward to see Canada up against Belgium. No doubt about that one.
What are you expecting to see exactly?
I'm expecting to... Listen, I think...
One CONCACAF.
Yeah, well, yeah, I like Canada. I like Canada as a team. I think they have a lot of passion in terms of their football. And as I said earlier, we're having a conversation. These teams have nothing to lose, you know. Like they have nothing to lose. You have teams like Belgium who are expected to do well, and they have a solid team. They have a team that has been built for a while, nice camaraderie and stuff going. You expect that. But then you have a Canada who is coming with a lot of passion. You know, they haven't been there for years, and it's like, yo, let's go and prove ourselves on this major stage. So that's the reason I'm looking forward to that match. And especially what happened this morning. We have to go back to it, you know. Go back to it.
No,
Argentina fans. I see some flag fans, some careless man. I laugh because I'm like, how am I going to work this?
Traffic. I bet you guys listen to traffic when you're going to them.
We say when I mash up him TV today. But anyway, the thing about it is that with what happened this morning, I feel like a lot of unprecedented stuff are going to happen going forward. And teams are motivated seeing that. You know, so I'm expecting it to be a good match. I'm really looking forward to that one.
Same for you as well, Togo?
I think, well, first of all, as much as we are a region, this one CONCACAF thing, I don't buy it at all. I don't want any of them to have a good run.
Yeah.
None of them. Because I might space them.
Yes, Jamaica should no, we never work hard enough for it, sorry.
No, man, come out of the way, man. I could go play some football. USA, I don't feel a closeness to Mexico as part of the region.
Oh, okay.
I don't like USA. Canada's a nice country.
That's something can work with.
Canada's a nice country.
Get work with,
Canada's a nice country, but I believe in them football.
Visa for 2026.
They're a nice country, but I don't like the football. So I can't. I mean, look, they did good stuff to get where they were, because at one point they were like the most improved team in the world.
Right.
So I mean, it's not to say that they're not there on merit, because that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying I wish it was me.
Yeah.
And then as for which game I'm looking forward to, I'd say Spain, because for one thing, I'm not sure what to expect from the Spanish side.
True, really. True.
I don't know what to expect from.
It's a mixed bag when it comes to Spain.
They really are. So it's like, are we going to get the good Spain, or are we going to get the 5-1 Spain? You know what I mean? So I really want to try to see which is which.
Yeah, well, Jefferson thinks it's going to be the good Spain, so we'll hold it.
Say that, but I believe him.
We've been saying that for years.
Yeah, just before we go, folks, we want to give you an update from the Portuguese camp, as news broke early today that Cristiano Ronaldo, the number 7, will be departing Manchester United. He will not play for the club. And there you go, that's the man on the screen. Manchester United released a statement earlier today that they've parted ways. Cristiano Ronaldo made in a statement that he still loves the fans and still loves the club, but he will be going in another direction. Next, I didn't get your take about the interview and everything, how everything transpired in that scenario.
That's very interesting. I watched that interview and I was half of the time I laughed, half of the time I shake my head. It was a very interesting interview, but this is not unexpected.
No,
that from that interview we dropped, I'm like, yeah, man.
Yeah, right.
We're done. 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 Because he said there are a lot of things that were released in that interview that were so unprecedented for a player, and an active player.
Yeah.
You know, man talk about a bag of things. A lot of them were true.
Yeah.
A lot of them he felt ego. But
not even a thank you to the fans or see you later, guys. Nothing of that
nature.
So
I can hit your personal, but yeah. I want to reach your personal. I have nothing to do with this club, so I can't speak. I was actually like, wow, I was actually shocked at some of the things that he was saying, but this guy is a professional. So you don't expect him to do saying things just randomly. So he has
Right.
played for many clubs.
Yeah.
He has not been like this before. So something must have
Gone
triggered.
wrong.
Yeah, man. Something must have triggered all of this. But yeah, man, I don't think it tarnishes his reputation or anything,
Overall,
or
no.
his legacy. I just think he's going to go on to another team and show why he is who he is. I'm actually looking forward to the match that he's going to play as well, because he's going to want to prove a lot of naysayers
right.
wrong. You know?
I think like for what he said, it's obvious. Someone, I think it was Ian Wright that said it, that he feels he's having a hard time coming to the conclusion that his career is coming to an end. And when he considers that he's one of the greatest careers ever,
Right, yeah.
it must be really hard to really come to grips with that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And he would still feel like he's fit. I mean, at 38, the man looks like he's still 24.
Yeah.
Right.
So, you know, it's ridiculous to think that would end. But then I guess a lot of it has to do with because he made mention of like some personal stuff, you know? And when he was at United as a youngster, that was actually one of the things that really endeared him to the club and wanted to fight for them that way. Because when he had issues with his dad, Fergie was like, no man, go right there, take all the time.
Next father treated him well.
You know what I mean? And when he
Nice.
came back from that time off, and since that time, the man was just ready to fight for the club. And I get the impression that he's just so wholly disappointed with the
How he was
treatment
treated, yeah, man.
and then with the state of the club, all of which I think are fair comment. It's surprising that he said all of that while still playing for the club, but it was obvious that in his mind he'd already cut ties.
Yeah,
So,
breaking point.
I mean, still my baller, still my club, but another thing I learned from Fergie is that no player is bigger than the club. So all the best to you, GOAT, but you know the club will remain.
Yeah, all the best to Ronnie on the next chapter of his career, and we hope to have something developing for you all tomorrow as the Glazers are looking to negotiate a sale for the club. So
Gakpo.
we'll see how
Cody
everything
Gakpo.
transpires.
That's all I have to say.
But folks, thank you so much for tuning in. 4 massive games on for tomorrow. Do stay tuned. We'll provide all the updates for you. 7:15 a.m. the pre-game show. 4 o'clock the post-game show. Stay tuned. A reminder of the games tomorrow. Morocco against Croatia, that's at 5 a.m. Germany versus Japan, that's at 8. Spain, Costa Rica at 11. And at 2 o'clock, Belgium against Canada, 2 o'clock. And of course, the post-game show at 4 o'clock. Stay tuned. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Really, really appreciate it. Big ups to Jeff for coming on early in the pre-game show. Also, thanks a lot to Dexter's Lab for hopping on and being with us for this afternoon. And also Jamal for making his debut for this afternoon. Really, really appreciate it. And look forward to more as we look to expand our coverage right here on 876 Stream JA. On behalf of the entire production team, thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye for now.
Beleza, 76 de janeiro.